Discussion keeps the world turning.
This is Roundtable.
You're listening to Roundtable. I'm Niu Honglin, joined by Steve and Fei Fei. Coming up soon. Every year, Chunyun tests the limits of China's transport system. In 2026, it also tests something else: how data, platforms, and policy can reshape the experience of mass mobility. With record-breaking passenger numbers, we ask whether the system can cope well and whether it can respond intelligently. And think about the last time you felt bored. Not tired, not stressed, just bored. No messages, no videos, nothing urgent demanding your attention. For many of us, that moment lasts only seconds before we instinctively reach for a screen. But what if someone told you that this discomfort is exactly what you and even your kid may need to learn how to think, plan, and imagine on their own? But before that, Chunyun, or China's Spring Festival travel rush, is often described as the world's largest annual human migration because it is. But beyond the numbers, it is also a portrait of a country in motion, one where railways, aviation, platforms, and policies intersect to keep daily life functioning at extraordinary scale. This year, Chunyun kicks off on February 2nd and spans 40 days as usual, with over 539 million passengers expected to hit the rails, an impressive 5% increase from last year. As the railway system ramps up its efforts to handle the rush, both excitement and challenges await. So, what's new in ticketing, in the move on the road this year, and what are travelers doing to make the most of it?
Well, first of all, for this year's Spring Festival travel rush, the reminder is the peak travel periods before and after the holiday are expected to be coincide, of course, with the 9-day holiday this year from February the 15th, one day before the Chinese New Year's Eve.
The real peak.
Yeah, to the 23rd, which is January the 7th on the Chinese lunar calendar. And the peak outbound travel before the festival is forecast for February the 13th. So the busiest return day is on February the 23rd. So for anyone who is planning to buy a ticket within this period,
good luck.
Yeah, just be aware. Set a reminder.
Set a reminder. That's very important, because I remember that because here in China you can book a ticket 15 days in advance. But for specific periods like summer holiday, winter holiday, spring festival period, they would extend the day so that you can start buying your ticket, booking your ticket a bit early. So remind yourself to set an alarm and start clicking the phone like you want to poke a hole on the screen with your finger.
It's like winning the lottery. Last year, and I remember being blown away last year upon hearing this number. Last year, there was a record high of 9.02 billion passenger trips during that 40-day period. And that they separated that into rail and air and car. There was over 500 million trips by train, 90 million by air, and over 7 billion by car. Everybody's on the move. Everybody. So it's a big time of year for people to see their families. That's one side. But from the operators of the airplanes and the trains, it's a big deal as well. And this year, they've implemented better services to accommodate this surge in travel demand. And some of them are pretty cool. One, this one's not my favorite, but it's a significant one. There's a limited time free refund policy. And that happens, I guess, if you mistakenly purchase your ticket, it gives you an opportunity to get it back. They also have quiet carriage services, and then discounted tickets for students. A little bit more on the ticket refund service, though. So yeah, it's again, if you make a mistake when you purchase it, if you do that on February 2nd or later via the 12306 platform, that's the official railway ticketing platform, then you can get a full refund online without any fees as long as the error is reported within 30 minutes after you pay or more than 4 hours before the train departs. And if you're there in the station, then you can get it immediately too, of course. But I guess this is a big deal because people's schedules can suddenly change.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And you might think, I was planning on going that day, but I'm going to have to go the next day. So whereas in the past, you'd have to pay a cancellation fee, you're not going to have to do that this time.
It's very sweet because for some platforms, it's a good time to, take advantage of people's mistake and changing of plan and just to, see the cancellation fee as a revenue, as a profit, because it's really the time when you want to make that change, you really want to make that change. But instead of taking advantage of passengers' mistakes, what they decide to do is that, it's a huge, huge deal in the sense that too many people are buying the ticket. We better upgrade the service.
And also, I think another very sweet service this year is that the 12306 platform has also launched a reservation service for migrant workers. So from January the 14th to February the 26th, workers who have passed real name verification can reserve tickets for travel between this very busy travel rush. So they don't have to really worry about, having to tap on their phone while they're busy working. And it's very important time for them to finally go back home and reunite with their family members. So each account can submit up to 3 reservation orders at a time, and this reservation will be available for redemption 16 days before departure. And the system, the 12306 system, will also notify them via text messages. So I think it's very sweet.
We take care of people with relatively humble background, migrant workers, also students. As always, students would be able to enjoy a student reservation service, a special one, and soon to be graduates in 2026, and also enjoy 2 extra one-way student discount tickets. So that's for students. And for those who have a very soft heart, owning a pet, yes, the trains are offering pet transport service as well, which is important because for my cat at home, every time when I need to travel back to my hometown to be reunited with my family members, especially for these long holidays, 7 days for National Day holiday, and for this time, 9 days for the Spring Festival period, I would have to leave my cat behind. But this time, if I want, I can take him.
Yeah, people will love that. Pet owners will love that.
Definitely.
I said before that wasn't my favorite, but this is my favorite. And I think this is a significant upgrade to the service. Light travel service trial, including 92 stations in cities like Harbin and Tianjin and Xi'an. And here's what it means. So for stations within 35 kilometers in the same city, travelers can choose between 2 convenient light travel options based on their needs. One is the door-to-station option. So if you reserve your tickets 4 to 48 hours before departure, staff will store your luggage in a service locker and deliver it to the platform 10 minutes before departure. Now, I understand that to mean they will come to your house and take your luggage to the station for you, if I understand that correctly. Then conversely, the station to door, this reservation can be made 1 to 24 hours before arrival, and the staff will pick up your luggage and deliver it to your designated location within 5 hours. So you don't have to travel with your luggage if you don't want to.
Is very important because for especially, I think business people is one thing. They want to look sharp when they meet their clients. It'll be nice if you do not have to carry their luggage. But for families that are traveling, having 2 kids running around everywhere, and they need you to chase after them. It's hard enough, especially if you're already traveling with kids. You would have a lot of luggage in huge suitcase.
Speaking of children, if you're worried about noise, then perhaps you could book some seats on the quiet carriage.
Didn't see that coming, but very fair.
If you choose a silent carriage, here's the deal. Inside that train car, quiet will be maintained. with soft movements to avoid disturbing others. Does that mean no kids? No, kids are still allowed, but they have to be quiet. Also, your devices like your phones and your tablets have to be set to silent or vibrate mode. If you're going to take a call, you have to step out of the silent carriage to do that. You have to use your headphones or turn off the volume when listening to audio. And yep, back to the kids. Sorry, kids, you have to keep them calm and avoid any loud disruptions there. If the rules are not followed, staff will provide friendly reminders. I don't know what that means exactly. Or gentle persuasion, though that's the other word used, to ensure that everyone enjoys the peace and quiet of the silent carriages.
I love that because in the society, people do complain about noisy kids, which are reasonable. But I don't think we complain enough about the
loud speaking speakers.
Yes, and also those who are watching short videos on the train and having it to the maximum volume. I do not understand. So yes, I love that quiet train. And I think it's fun because on Roundtable, we talk about the Chunyun, the Spring Festival Travel Rush, quite often, every year almost. But you see the topic being a little bit changed every year based on the trends. And previously we talked about how hard it is to get the ticket and what are some tips to get the ticket. We talk about the choice of high-speed train over plane sometimes because the trains are getting faster and faster. It'll help you to get to your home on not 2 days or sometimes an entire night like 10 years ago. Well, not 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 20 or 30 years ago. It has to be overnight trip. It has to be really long. And also the trains were slow and was very crowded and you cannot go to the restroom for several hours or you avoid going there because you would be go through crowds of people and it can be hard. But
sometimes
now,
lying on the floor.
yes. But now we are able to talk about the fact that they're improving their services. They're taking care of students, migrant workers, as well as those who are, by the way, even though it is really easy to book a ticket online, you can still go to the station and get a ticket. There are still certain tickets reserved for those who are not that familiar with the information technology with their phone to order their ticket. And also because I think on our ticket platforms, we can order for the elderly in the home, which would make things much easier as long as the identification is correct. So being able to talk about these nice services makes me feel much more comfortable about this year's travel.
And those out there who are like me, if you need English when booking your tickets on the 12306 app, you can do that. So you can visit the website, which is 12306.cn, or you can use the app. And then to switch to English, just click the EN in the top right corner of the site, and then you can register and fill in your personal information, your name as it is on your passport number, expiration date, blah, 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 all of that information. And that's a really good idea to do, to pre-register that information so that when the tickets go on sale, all you have to do is hit that one-click submit and you can get your tickets faster.
Yeah. For this year, something different is that we are going to have a 9-day holiday, which is really long. Usually it's 7 days, but this year, because of the arrangement and everything, it is going to be a 9-day holiday. Besides taking care of your kids and being with them 24/7 for 9 straight days really hard, what are some other possibilities or trends are we looking at because of the extended holiday happening?
I think, first of all, a lot of people could be planning right now for longer trips outside of their city because, of course, 9 days. And so be prepared that hotel bookings in many travel cities, for example, Guangzhou, Shanghai, and Fuzhou in Fujian province, their bookings have already increased by 70% year on year. And also, we can be experiencing a lot of long distance and deep immersive tourism experiences. I think this year, for example, in the city of Harbin, in the province of Heilongjiang, it would be a good opportunity to tour around that region to experience that ice and snow activities that the region offers.
Yes.
That's a possibility as well.
And besides that, you can even book 2 trips, 2 short ones, and squeeze them into that one long holiday.
Good luck with booking tickets.
That too. So I think that would be the sign off of this story. That is good luck, sincerely, on booking the tickets. You're listening to Roundtable. Coming up next is boredom good for you and also your kids. Stay tuned.
Looking for passion? How about fiery debate? Want to hear about current events in China from different perspectives? Then tune in to Roundtable, where East meets West and understanding is the goal.
This is Roundtable with me, Steve Hatherley, and Fei Fei. Today we're diving into something we all spend our entire lives running away from. It's that itchy, restless feeling you get when your phone dies in a waiting room or when you're stuck in a long line with absolutely nothing to do. We're talking about boredom, and specifically, we are so terrified. Why we're so terrified of it. I mean, you can think about it. When was the last time you just sat on a park bench for 10 minutes without checking your notifications? We treat a disengaged mind like a medical emergency. And when we are in a bathroom without our phone, some would even try to read the ingredients of a soap so that they do not feel bored. So is it possible that doing nothing is actually more productive than we think because we are reading research results about this? So what is happening?
Yeah, people find it really difficult to actually
difficult
to just sit and think. It's not just difficult. People don't like zero stimulation. I immediately, on this topic, am reminded of the 2014 electric shock study. This is hilarious. So this is the most famous study on this particular topic. It was done by the University of Virginia and Harvard, and this is what they did. They took participants and they put them in a room for 6 to 15 minutes. In that room, they had no book, no phone, no distractions whatsoever. The only thing in that room was a button that they would press that would deliver them an electric shock. Now, before the test took place, all the participants were given a sample shock, and every single one said, I did not like that at all, and actually, I would pay money not to be shocked again. But then they did the test. Again, no phone, no book, no distractions. 6 to 15 minutes, just sit by yourself in a room. The results? The people who hated the shock, which was almost everyone, even still, 67% of the men and 25% of the women chose to intentionally shock themselves rather than just sit in silence. And one guy in the study, he was so desperate for stimulation, he shocked himself 190 times in 15 minutes, and it proves that people would rather have a negative sensation than no sensation at all.
That is hard proof.
Yeah, 190 times that guy shocked himself. Yeah.
Wow, this is definitely counterintuitive to start with.
Now, this goes back to our childhood, the feelings of boredom. And if you have a young child, maybe you've noticed this. Around 1 or 2 years old, kids don't get bored. True boredom, it comes out between the ages of 3 and 5 years old. And this is when a child's brain develops enough cognitive complexity, as they call it, to realize that the current environment around them isn't meeting their mental needs. A kid before 3, I mean, you can just give them a wooden spoon or a pan, and they'll just like bang, 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 because they're having fun with the sensation of it. But when they pass that age of 3, they start to need some meaning or like a storyline or a narrative to what they're actually doing. And boredom happens when they want to do something, but they don't have the internal tools to figure out what that thing is. And that's when you hear, Mommy, I'm bored.
Yes.
And even for 10-year-olds, they'll always have that question, Mom, what should I do next? I have nothing to do now. And yeah, that can be another issue is that it's not only about their cognitive development. I think it also helps if they know what to do, helps with them. There's basically controlling their own life. That if you're bored, you don't know what to do, it's your time to figure out what you can do.
Yeah. So they say that when you give a kid a tablet, or even when you just tell them how to entertain themselves, then they are a consumer of entertainment. But when you tell your kid, I don't know, what do you think you can do to create your own fun? Then they go from being a consumer of entertainment to being a creator of their own entertainment. And when they have to figure out from the things in their own environment how to find their own fun, then that kickstarts the ability in their brain to generate internal stimulation. And this, they say, experts say, is a vital life skill. It's the difference between, and this is really important, it's the difference between needing the world to entertain you and you being able to find interest in the world itself.
Wow, it sounds very useful to kids. But another thing I was thinking is that when we're bored, we tend to find things to entertain us, or we tend to feel agitated a little bit. And that might be the reason that that dude shocked himself so many times. So if a kid is bored in a way and they cannot find the solution, does that mean it can help them in any way to have better control over their own mental situation or their emotions?
Yeah, 100%. It does create creativity within their brain. But when they have to figure out how to stop being bored, what they're actually doing there is practicing a very high level of self-regulation and planning. And that's the executive function in the brain, kind of like an air traffic control system, because it's the way that kids will plan or prioritize or resist impulses or solve problems. So when they get mad and there's no instant solution handed to them, they have to stop and think, what can I do now? I'm not feeling good about this. How can I make them better? How can I make this better? And it's a workout for your brain in order to figure out a solution to the problem. It forces them into the role of project manager, if you will, and it forces them to control their own emotions.
Yeah, so final thing. Exactly what is happening in our brain, scientifically speaking, when we stop being busy. Because yes, for kids, it's really, really important. But I figure for adults, it can be helpful and beneficial as well. And that is because in our brain, when we are not being constantly stimulated, some things are happening.
When we stop and have time to think, then there's a part of our brain, a network in our brain that gets triggered. And that is the ability to stop and think about our past and our future and process who we actually are. It's when things go quiet on the outside that our brain starts social processing. We think about our relationships. We think about how we treat others. We think about how we treat ourselves. And it's because of these quiet moments that we're able to develop more empathy for other people. And we also have a clearer sense of our own values. And this is applicable that's for adults, but it's also applicable to children, because this downtime is where they can build what they call their social emotional intelligence. And that's where they can recognize and understand and manage their own emotions, and also being tuned into the feelings of others. If we are never bored, if we are never stopping from external stimuli, we never have an opportunity to reflect on these types of things.
That's
and it's
true.
also very true for kids.
Yes, and that is why I agree that we should try to intentionally find some time to be bored. We can strategically underschedule a little bit so that we have time to be bored. We can resist or try to resist the quick fix. Try to, have a 5-minute blank in your busy schedule instead of reaching for our phones instantly. And also, ultimately, the best ideas come in the shower or on a walk. So stop listening to music while you're showering. Just allow yourself to be bored a little bit. It'll be good for you. And that brings us to the end of today's roundtable. Until next time, make sure you stay curious, stay informed, and keep the conversations going. I'm Niu Honglin with Steve and Fei Fei. We're glad you joined us at the table today. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.